Welcome back, Caniacs. This is Brad, and as always, Ray is in the house. Ray, West Coast trip. The Canes get 9 of 12 points. Ray's grinning from ear to ear. How you feeling, Ray?
I'm feeling really good. And before we go actually any further, we need to send a big shout out. It's already past us, but this is part of the United States Thanksgiving weekend. I hope that everyone had a magnificent holiday and had their stuffing. Stuffing is the best part of Thanksgiving.
It
In the
really is.
Thanksgiving meal, stuffing is it for me. I had people talking about drafts. If you could draft what you wanted for for your Thanksgiving meal, my first round pick would be stuffing. My second round pick would be stuffing. My third round pick would be stuffing. I just love it. I didn't get this big by accident. Let's just say that
Same.
much.
I
Yeah,
make
I
I
just
make
love it.
stuffing muffins, Ray. So I
Oh,
take stuff and I form them into like softball sizes and put them in a
yeah.
muffin tin. So almost the whole thing is crunchy on the outside, and they all
Oh,
get cooked perfectly in the middle. If you like the crunchy part of stuffing, make them in a muffin tin. Make them a little bigger than the
oh,
size of the tin.
sure.
350 for 45 minutes.
Oh man. Enjoy the turkey, enjoy the ham, enjoy everything else. I'll just take this tray and tin of stuff and muffins and just go sit in the corner and eat. Just never mind me. And I'll be thankful for all of it. Thank you very much.
And
What a
Americans
great
love a
idea.
portable food.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
literally I microwaved one today and took my son out on a scooter, and I just microwaved the one. I just took it outside and ate
Oh
it like
man, that's
like an apple.
lots to be thankful of. We hope everyone had a great time for sure. Yes, the West Coast trip. I got to tell you, I was a little concerned. We started out really strong, those wins over Vegas and Anaheim and the Kings. It was really terrific, right? It was a great way to start a 6 game road trip, and you get the first 3 wins against teams that are playing really quite well. That Anaheim victory was huge. The Kings are no slouches. Vegas is always strong, even though they were dealing with, injuries. Drop an overtime game to the Sharks, who played tremendously well, but we got that single point, and that was important. So yes, it's a loss, whatever. The disappointment to me was losing to Seattle. That was a loss to a goaltender that stood on his head. Grubauer had so many big saves, and he had the chance going for him. You could see why the GM and my favorite player of all time, Ron Francis, um, made the selection to make sure and lock him down, because he was worth every penny that he is getting paid for in that game against the Hurricanes, which stunk. Then moving on to Philly. And my take is no matter what, do not lose 2 games in a row where you get like no points. You know what I'm saying? You if you Because it's so easy to drop into a losing streak. It is so, and those things will catch up on you. And if you want to stay at the top of your game and stay at the top of the league, especially in the Metropolitan Division where things are tough all over in the East, a lot of teams are playing really well. It's a real dogfight for position. You cannot afford streaks and losing streaks of 3 games. And it didn't look good at the start. The Flyers were doing just that, flying. They were great. But the Hurricanes all of a sudden put the hammer down in the second period and outscore them 4-1 and win this game running away, and they stopped a losing streak. You know what I mean? Like, even though they lost 2 games previously, one of the games they got points out of. So I don't really look at that. I look at, lose, don't get any points, can't have more than 2 games in a row. They did that, and now they're back home and preparing for the Capitals. So I loved seeing the rebound game. I loved the victory over the Flyers. It's an afternoon game. Really, really happy with how the whole team did the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? Like, they
I'm
all
right there with you.
rebounded.
I agree not only on games. I was looking at power play, and in the last 2 weeks, the power play is a 7.7%,
Yikes.
which is getting back into old habits, I think.
Yep.
I think they're getting I think we're getting back into being a little too fancy. In a lot of sports, making the extra pass is a good thing. We should do that, but don't make the extra pass.
Yeah.
We always like to joke about people just yelling shoot in the stands, and yeah, some of those the goalie's going to get, but I think Turbo does a great job, for example, of that kind of shoot pass. He shoots low, he knows it's coming off the blocker to get a rebound.
Yep.
That's the kind of thing that I think we need to see more of. In that Philly game, prime example, Andrei Svechnikov got a fine today for the knee on knee, and I can't remember the Philly player's name. He's on the ice,
Yeah.
and some people might call me heartless, but the referee didn't stop the game. You have a 5-on-3 for like 20 seconds as he's trying to make his way to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And they got one shot off, I think it was. They were just passing around like they were waiting for the whistle to blow. And like I said, call me heartless, but if they're not going to blow the whistle, put the puck in the net. You got a 5-on-3. 20 seconds of 5-on-3 is plenty of time to get, to just try and try and overload and get some shots on, and maybe you get a lucky deflection. But that the power play, I'm not worried, but I'm not worried.
I understand what you're saying, and the fact that we've also given up a couple of shorthanded goals too, for the same reason. It's I don't want to say lackadaisical, but the Svechnikov, that one giveaway on the power play that led to the goal, the goal that poor Seth Jarvis was just taken to the woodshed on that. Like, seriously, Fairby, I believe is his name. What a movie put on Jarvis. And you can tell a forward playing on the point is great for the power play until he's the guy back defending.
The first time Jarvis has looked like a rookie the whole season, in my opinion.
Exactly. That's a very good point. Like, Farabee just made him look like he didn't belong at all. It was a great move. It was a good goal. And what do you do? You tip your cap to Farabee. You feel bad for Jarvis. It's a learning experience for him, right? Like, that's really what it is. And you kind of move on. But like giving up shorties, it's like bane of my existence. Honestly, as far as like when you're seeing your power play out there, shorthanded goals are one of the things that I loved about the Hurricanes. We score a lot of shorthanded goals, a lot because Necas and Aho are out there on the penalty kill. And when you got guys that can move the puck like that are defensively sound and quick, and have very quick shots, you know what I mean? Like, you can catch a lot of goaltenders by surprise. That's what you want for your penalty kill. And so I love having our shorthanded goals, but getting them scored against you, they drive me crazy.
Two of my basic hockey rules are: number one, if you don't score on a 5-on-3, that's say at least 60 seconds, you probably don't deserve to win.
No, you're right about that. I agree 100%.
Number two, if you give up a shorthanded goal, you probably don't deserve to win.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes are good enough now that giving up a shorthanded goal, I didn't feel that bad about it. I said, that's Jarvis. He's a rookie. I'm not going to really beat the kid up about it. It happened. He'll learn from it. But in years past, I'd have been crushed, because goals used to be so hard to come by for this team.
It's
like giving up a shorty is just killing you.
Yeah, a huge mountain to climb. Every game is a struggle, and you don't want to make it any worse by having the man advantage and not only failing to score, but giving one up to boot. I mean, and that's such a boost for every team. I mean, you look at last season. Let's take a look at that, and all the shorthanded goals that the Hurricanes scored. How many times did they come in big points in the game, right, where they really needed a boost, and all of a sudden, you're penalty killing. It's going to be a tough spot for you. All of a sudden, Aho's down at the other end scoring shorthanded. All of a sudden, everyone gets a lift, right? And it happens so often. Was the 2-on-0 between Necas and Aho, was that not a shorthanded goal as well? It was they were 2-on-0 shorthanded going down the ice, and when they scored that pass goal, I think that's what it was. It was unbelievable. It was a fantastic goal. But when they're both on the ice, I mean, they're doing great work. They're doing great work. So
Absolutely. And that was reminiscent of that tic-tac-toe goal Kokanyami got. That was a
yes.
pretty thing. He was
Oh,
sitting there, and that pass came through, and you're like, Hart's got no shot. That's going in.
yeah, yeah. Poor Hart just, yeah, he didn't stand a chance on that. And that, you're talking about the extra pass. The extra pass is always nice when it results in an actual tic tac toe. You know what I mean? And it's in the net. Those are great, and those are pretty to watch, and they're really exciting aspect of the game. But the extra pass that you're talking about, unless they end up in the net, it's like, yeah, come on, guys,
Yeah,
more shots.
we spend a lot of time, I feel like, on power plays just shuffling the puck around, which, I mean, the point of a power play for folks who are new to hockey is you're trying to really get a 2-on-1 somewhere, which gives you the advantage. Even though it's a 5-on-4, you're really trying to isolate one defensive player.
Yep.
But at the same time, in some ways, it's almost predictable. It's not like they're doing something that's wholly different that the defense isn't expecting. They're just kind of moving it and hoping the defense is going to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do better on power plays when we force the issue, and then the defense has no choice but to commit. They have to, they have to make a decision.
Yeah.
And if you have to make a decision, maybe you make the wrong one. If we're not making them make decisions, they can just sit back and wait for us. So
one of the teams that does that so well is the team that the Hurricanes are hosting Sunday afternoon, Washington Capitals, and Alexander Ovechkin, who's coming off a hat trick game, beating Florida. So thank you for that. But now they're tied with us on, they've played 2 more games, but they're tied with the Hurricanes at the top of the Metropolitan Division. And this is going to be a tough game. You know where he's going to be camping out. He's going to be right there at the left face-off circle, just above the face-off dot, and he'll be just pounding shots at Anderson, who is the likely goaltender and stuff. This is going to be a real test. All hands on deck are going to need to really show up and be at the top of their game. It would be, aside from the whole, rivalry that these two teams now have, without question, it's a matter of asserting some dominance. And I know how corny that sounds, but we need to put them in their place quick. And because I think momentum is key in a season. And now that we've got that win to stop the losing streak, we need to come up with a back-to-back win. And you start with Washington, and then you look at, you've got a few games at home before they head up to my neck of the woods. Like December is going to be kind of key. I think the Hurricanes have kind of separated themselves from the pack. They've kind of, I don't want to say guaranteed that they're going to be a playoff team, but they look solid. They are for real. Everyone's moving in the right direction, pulling on the rope in the right direction. So now it's a matter of asserting ourselves near the top, to give us the most advantage going into the playoffs. And I know that
absolutely.
seems like early to talk about now, since we're we're not even a quarter into the season. But look, we need, this is the time to really get things done. And Washington's always tough. There's never an easy game against Washington. And yes, we've beaten them in the playoffs. That's something we can hold over their head. We love it. But the question becomes, a guy like Ovechkin, who is on fire. The man just will not stop scoring. People would say, "Oh, someone will come along and beat Gretzky's record someday." And I kept thinking, "Nah, it's not happening." Gretzky was too strong, too many goals in a league where seeing 7 goals a game was, normal. Like you see that a lot. You know what I'm
He
saying?
is impressive.
And Ovechkin is just piling them on, like everything. He's just playing so well, and this is a team, guys like Oshie. I mean, Oshie is a guy that I've admired his skill and his play from afar. I got a lot of respect for him. I hate saying nice things about the opponents, but look, you got to show respect, and then go out there and beat them. Prove
Yep,
your
they're a
worth.
good club, but But like you said, tomorrow is a 4-point swing.
Yes.
If this can end in regulation, and that could put the Canes up by a pair with 2 games in hand, which is huge. The Metropolitan Division, Ray, you mentioned we're about a quarter of the way through the season now, so things are starting to shake out, as you said.
Yep.
There's only one team under 500 in the Metro, and that's
Isn't that-
the Isles. The Isles have just dropped off the face of the earth. But
poor guys,
Philadelphia is 8-7-4, and they're the 7th worst team. If you look at the Atlantic, thinking just Eastern, conference opponents in general, Buffalo's come down to earth.
Yep.
Your favorite team, the Canadiens,
The team
are
5 wins too many.
The best part about the Canadiens right now, Ray, is that their fans are so upset with the way they're playing. On Twitter, it's all about KK and how KK's only got 4 goals for $6 million. And I keep pointing out, I'm like, yeah, but you took that first round pick you got from us and got Christian Dvorak, who has the same, actually has fewer goals now, I think, than KK. He has 20 penalty minutes and he's a negative 15. So you turned a first rounder into sub KK. So you can say whatever you want. It's not going to bother me.
And really, it doesn't matter at all. Kotkaniemi is a contributor to this squad, playing well, getting out there, getting it done. And our squad is how many points ahead of you? Oh, that's right. 19.
A quarter of the way through the season.
It's a quarter of the way through. We've got a 19-point lead. How about you be quiet now?
And we just moved we just moved him to center. He said in an interview, I think it was yesterday, day before, he feels a lot more comfortable at center. That might limit where he can go in the depth chart a little bit to keep him at center. That probably will keep him on the 4th line.
Yep.
But I like scoring from my 4th line.
Contributions from everywhere. And that's what Rod Brindamore has been asking out of all of his teams. Every time you're on the ice, make a contribution. There are so many things that you can do on the ice that will never be seen on the score sheet. It doesn't have to be goals. It doesn't have to be assists. It can simply be a good, solid check, taking the body, cutting off the passes and stuff, doing like that, being responsibly defensively. Like those things are okay. I don't need to see points all the time. You do not have to be, not every player on the ice is Sebastian Aho. You know what I'm saying? Like you all bring different things to the table. Play to your strength. So seeing him up there is great. But yeah, you're right. Like the Metropolitan Division is heated. Like that is, look at it. Like the Rangers, I certainly did not look at the Rangers and think that they were after 20 games, they were going to have 29 points.
No, definitely not.
Look, I didn't see, look where the Penguins are. I mean, the Penguins have 24 points after 20 games. They're 10-6-4. They've done a lot of that without Sid. They had tons of injuries and they're still over 500, 4 games over 500. That says a lot about this division. They're strong.
It really does.
They're strong, and these games they have to, like, they're must win games. Games.
It's early in the season, but I'm with you 100%. I was looking at the stats because I felt like we've had a drop off in production in November from October.
Yeah,
and it's not as bad as I thought. Your top 3 scores in both months are Aho, Svechnikov, and D'Angelo. Both of those guys, all 3 of those guys right there in the mix. The big surprise and the big welcome that we've needed that boost is in November, Marty Necas is on the score sheet and Seth Jarvis is on the score sheet consistently. And that's really picked up, I think, the scoring because, Svechnikov had a drought. He got off of his drought last night. So these other guys are starting to pick things up a little bit and fill in those gaps, which is what you need to do to have a successful hockey team. Analyst of the day said, if Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, if they're not, basically in contention for the cup, then you need to change the league to fit how they play. And it's like, no, the Oilers have a 2-man roster. Yeah. And that's what breaks down. You just said, it'd be great if everybody was Aho. Well, it would, but it wouldn't work. And if you don't believe that, then look at Edmonton, because if you shut down those 2 guys, what do they have? They got nothing. Yeah,
the Winnipeg Jets proved that in the playoffs last year, where they completely shut down both Draisaitl and McDavid. limiting them. And when I say shut down, it meant that they only scored maybe 1 point in each game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's shutting them down. They're still scoring. They're just not racking up 5-6 points a night, between them. That's the difference as far as Edmonton goes. I mean, honestly, like having right now the point differential, there's only one team doing better than the Hurricanes right now, even though we're not the highest in goals scored, 64 goals scored. I'm trying to take a page out of your book. You've always been the number cruncher, and I've always admired that. So I'm trying to take a little bit page out of your book. I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm trying to prove my worth
I love it.
in that
Oh,
statistics department to you. And
you have intangibles. Trip Tracy would say Ray has intangibles. You cannot quantify what Ray brings to this program.
There you go. Well,
everybody listening will say that. 100%.
I appreciate that. But like I said, we're 25 points to the good as far as the difference goes. Only one team doing better. I'm living in the town where that is. The Calgary Flames have turned their season around. That's probably the wildest change of all of the league. Is them. You want to talk about the importance of coaching? You look at Rod Brindamore and Mr. Sutter here in Calgary. Calgary has taken on a whole new look under Sutter. They bought it hook, line, and sinker, and they're playing amazing hockey.
They look good. And they look good, and they look good doing it too. They're fun. They're fun. I like watching their highlights.
They're solid. I mean, they are solid, and so it makes the Battle of Alberta that much more interesting around here. But I digress slightly. I'm just telling you, there's only one team doing better, and that's the Flames. We're playing well. Like let's keep things going, putting the puck in the net, and just being solid all around. I think, as far as December goes, just keep building up these like mini. I don't mind losing, but let's keep having those mini winning streaks going in between 3-4 games in between losses and stuff. Never back to back. If you're going to lose games, try to get that point in overtime. We talked about how important that was overtime. The Capitals are tied with us right now because of the overtime losses.
For that reason, absolutely.
For that reason alone. So they're in every game. We need to have that same sort of thing. I'm looking at the red, and they're coming up to Calgary. They're coming up to Edmonton. They're doing that Western Canadian swing. And man, oh man, there's going to be some tough games. Playing Calgary and Edmonton back in back-to-back games, it's not easy anymore. It used to be easy because they were kind of puffballs for a while. They all struggled. They were having difficulties winning. Even guys like Connor McDavid and Draisaitl or whatever, the Hurricanes could get in there and dominate a game. You know what I'm saying? The Flames struggled last year. They could do the same thing. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed being in the stands, cheering for that one, watching that it was a shutout victory. Loved it.
Yeah,
Even though the Flames actually, as I recall correctly, they dominated a good part of that game against the Hurricanes last year here in Calgary, and still the Canes came out as the winners. You know what I mean? That's not going to be that easy this time around. This swing is going to be tough.
It really is. December is kind of a weird month. We start out with Ottawa and Buffalo, which is, in theory, those are two games you should win.
Yes.
Right. I'm not going to say, they will, but those are games that they should win.
Yep.
Then we start the West Coast Coast swing, which I actually like because my son goes to bed before the games start, and I actually can watch hockey on the TV and not my iPad.
Right.
Very exciting for me.
Nice.
But you have Winnipeg, who's playing pretty well, on the 7th. Then you have Calgary on the 9th. Then you have Edmonton on the 11th. And then you get a little bit of a break maybe with Vancouver. Vancouver, if you heard about practice, I think it was today or yesterday, they were trying to run 2-on-1s and somebody's screaming like, we don't even know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in Vancouver, but if it gets the Canes 2 points, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And then you have a middle tier. Like the middle of the month is kind of that middle of the road, Minnesota, Detroit, LA, Nashville, Boston. And then you get Ottawa again. So you're thinking, okay, well, that's one we should, get into. And then you get Florida and then Montreal.
Ooh.
So it's we're getting some really tough opponents, but you're getting a little bit of, you can't relax on any team in the league, but maybe you're getting a little bit of a reprieve with those in between games by teams that you should beat. You should have at least a solid chance of putting those teams away.
Yeah,
But that second week of December stretch, that Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, those 3 games, I don't know that they worry me. I'm looking forward to them. I think they will be exciting, but I don't think it's going to be a 9 out of 12, points on this road trip.
yeah.
If we get 9 out of 12 points on this road trip,
Yeah,
I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon.
And just thinking going into Winnipeg, where Coach Paul Maurice has always done a good job with the Jets, and look at Hellebuck in net. He is fantastic. He plays so well, and if he's between the pipes, you got your work cut out for you. It's going to be a struggle. Like it's entirely within reason to believe that all 3 of those games we could be on the wrong side of the ledger, because all of those teams are playing great. It's going to be tough. And it's something that you look forward to, very interested in watching, and that's that whole separating wheat from the chaff again, right? They're doing that all over again to determine, like I said, if we come out of that type of road swing over 500, I'm happy.
Agreed.
Or we get even if we get losses, but they're overtime losses, boom, I've got no trouble with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be okay, because those are solid teams playing great hockey, and they're on fire. It's
Absolutely.
wow.
If we got 3 overtime losses and 2 even overtime wins, any kind of wins against that Vancouver, Minnesota, that's a super successful trip in my book.
Yeah, no question. Now, we've taken a look at December and so forth, and normally, what we've loved here on the show, and we've always said it, that hockey is for everyone, and we've loved having guests on. This time everyone's stuck with just you and me talking, giving the straight goods on the team, and looking ahead at the games that are coming up and how they did on the West Coast. But we also about having upcoming guests. And I know that, if you want to tell your story about being a Caniac and a jerk like us, drop us a line. Let us know. We'd love to have you aboard. We've had so much fun talking with fans. And you don't have to be from another country or another continent. You can be a dyed in the wool Caniac from right there in Raleigh. Love to hear your story. Love to have you tell us, what drives you about this team. Get your feedback on the club, because you and I are strong in our opinions, but it's not the Bible. It's not exactly the way everyone sees the team, and so why not have a few other people aboard? And you've got someone lined up for the very near future, I think.
So we have a couple of folks confirmed. One of the people I'm really excited to talk to, and I'm hoping he won't mind. I'm hoping that maybe we'll talk to him closer to the Olympic break, because we have the first 3.5 weeks of February, no NHL hockey.
Yeah.
But Alex Ohári, who runs the @Future Canes Twitter account, he writes for a couple of, I think, different Canes blogs. The man knows all about Canes prospects. And I'm really excited. He's agreed to come on. I was thinking initially, let's get him on in December. But now I'm thinking, if we wait until there's kind of a break in the action, I'd really just do a whole episode on Canes prospects, starting with Jarvis and then going in through who do we have in the A, who do we have in major juniors, and really deep dive in who might we see the next couple of years, because I think that's something that even diehard Caniacs, I just don't have the time. I think, I don't know how you do it, but I just don't have the time to deep dive these guys. I'll see the name and I'll go to YouTube and I'll look for clips, but I don't know what he knows about them. So I'm very, very excited to talk to Alex. He also seems super personal and funny. So I think that's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great to have him aboard. Yeah.
We've done some things on Twitter with Pours for Scores, who, for those of you who don't know, it's @Pours, the number 4, then Scores on Twitter. and they started doing this to raise money for charity. So
Yep.
we've done a few things with them, throwing out just some graphics and things. I'd love to have them come on. I haven't asked yet. So if you guys hear this, I'm asking now. Will you come on and talk to us
You've been
in December?
formally, 100%.
You've been
do it
formally.
live, right?
You can't say no because I put it on a podcast.
That's right. That's right. All part of our plan.
All part of the plan. We have some other folks that we'd love to get on the show. I don't want to name drop a whole bunch of names, but there are a few other folks we'd love to talk to about some things that go to that hockey's for everybody mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to do an episode on Indigenous hockey, First Nations hockey.
Yes.
With a special guest. This is the first year I've really followed women's hockey with the rebranding of the PHF and the Boston Pride right here down the street for me. And I'd love to talk more about women's hockey as well. So I'd love to reach out to them and see if we can maybe get them on to talk about what they're doing. And then on top of that, Laura Wheeler, who I think was our very first guest,
yes.
who is amazing and who we adore. Something I was thinking of the other day is accessibility features in Twitter. And we post a lot of graphics on the Twitter feed. I say we, I mean I. It's just me, folks. And I was like, oh, I should really start tagging these with what the content is for people like Laurel who have a visual impairment or who might be using a screen reader or who's I'm in my late 40s now, like who just don't see as well as they used to on their phone. And today, out of the blue, she tweets about the fact that Twitter has a built-in text program that whenever you upload a visual file, you can click on the word alt, run the picture, and you can put in basically a caption, and it only appears to people who have that function enabled. I'm like, oh my, like that's amazing. Like I'm going to start using that as much as I can. We'd love to see people who listen to the podcast, take the extra 4 or 5 seconds if you upload a photo or a video or a GIF and just hit that all button and put it in a short description of maybe what it is you're doing. Because we have plenty of people out there in the world that love hockey that might have, a visual impairment that would really be helpful for.
It would be really helpful.
And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I've already started doing it today. I got to get in the habit, but I think once it's habit, then I'll do it forever. So, but I thought that was a really cool thing to pop up kind of out of nowhere.
And Laurel is such a great fan, honestly. Like so many posts that we've been following and seen her. She loves her Hurricanes. She's actually she's learning to skate and playing hockey in Finland, and visually impaired, and she's out there skating and doing quite well. I might say, Laurel, I know you're listening. You know what? You're doing so great. Your progress is really coming along. You're really starting to move around. It's awesome. It's seeing her improvement and love for the sport, love for the game is so terrific. And here's to more Teravainen goals for you. Every time Teravainen is on the score sheet, I think of Laurel and how happy she is. And she likes all the Hurricanes scoring, let's make no mistake. But her Teravainen, I mean, Turbo is her guy.
Every time somebody asks, like, who's scoring first tonight, I'm like, it's going to be Turbo because he's at 99. He's got to get 100.
He's got to get there.
He's not scoring. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to do this.
He'll tickle the twine here. Turbo will tickle the twine. Like, I like my alliteration every now and again. Look, Laurel. So yeah, that's such a great idea. All about inclusiveness. Get everyone involved. It's a sport for everyone. The love is real, and it means a lot to share the sport and share the joy in it. So yeah, I love that idea, and that's why you're the brains of this operation.
And
no mistake.
Man, we're in trouble if I'm the brains.
Oh, come on now. No, seriously, it's a great idea to do. It just makes the game and the sport and the Hurricanes that much more accessible to everyone.
If there's something we can be doing, tell us. Shoot us an email, stormcellar97 at Gmail. Find us on Twitter at stormcellar97. Facebook is facebook.com/stormcellar97. And let us know what can we do to improve the show, whether it's accessibility related or not, content related. If you want to be on the show, reach out to us and tell us. If there's something that we can be doing or something, if you know of something hockey related that we can call attention to, be it a charity or a program that we can help promote, that would help spread hockey to new fans and new demographics of fans, I'm all for it. I'm all in.
Make it so. So now we're at the point where we're getting ready to wrap things up, and we need to just very quickly before we call things a night. We look at the very next game, make some predictions. If you were predict a score at the PNC in Raleigh when the Washington Capitals and the heated rivalry and the most hated Alexander Ovechkin. I don't hate him. I respect the hell out of him, and he scares the hell out of me.
You don't have to like him.
Yeah, you don't have to like him. No. So Ovechkin comes to town and he brings the Capitals with them. And it's our first game back after a long road trip. You always hear about that first game at home, always a bit of a struggle after you've been on the road for a while. What do you think? Where do you see this game going?
I think it all depends on the referees. Like how many games don't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If this turns into a shootout, meaning if this is a lot of special teams play, this could get ugly, and this could be a 5-4, 6-5 type of game because both teams are that good.
Yeah.
Both teams are also good enough defensively that if they're not calling penalties, both teams are very good 5-on-5. But I would definitely think we're going to see it be. I don't even think we get to the level of the Philly game, like a 3-4 game, 3-2 game. I think it's going to be closely contested because there's so much at stake. I think everybody's going to be playing their best hockey. As far as I know, we're still going to be without Bear, which I think hurts a lot. I think our PK has been excellent, but I think some of the decisions 5-on-5 have not been as solid because of Bear. That being said, a shout out to Ian Cole, whose name I never hear on the broadcast, which means he's doing his job very well.
Yes.
As far as he's not doing anything that makes you go, oh my God, Ian Cole, but he's not making any mistakes. He's always seems to be in the right place at the right time. So I think this one depends on, is this a special teams game or is this a 5-on-5 game? I think if this is a 5-on-5 game, it's going to favor the Hurricanes. I think if it becomes a special team shootout, then Ovechkin's just so good.
Wow.
And our power play needs to find that next gear.
Yeah, you know what? If it turns into a penalty-filled game and stuff like that, all I'm asking from our guys is to have someone in Ovechkin's back pocket right there on the left. Like, look, everyone knows where he's going to be on the power play, and they're going to move the puck around as much as they can until it finally opens up in that spot for him to get the one-timer off. Just have someone there. Just put someone right in front of him. Start a chat. Ask him how he's doing. Hey, played a great game. Thanks for beating the Panthers there the other night. Sorry you won't be able to score tonight, but just stick someone on him. Don't let him get away free because otherwise it's going to get ugly. I look at this one as maybe being a high-scoring affair, and I think it might even get to overtime. I'm going to call a 5-4. I got to call a win because I'm a Caniac, but I'm going to say this one is going to see a lot of goals, 5-4, and let's just hope we're on the right side of the ledger.
I'm all good going to overtime, and you're absolutely right. Ovechkin has 18 goals. Wilson is number 2 on the team with 8, and then it goes down 7-5-5. So if you can shut down Ovechkin, which is not an easy task.
No.
Not saying it's an easy task. I'm just saying if you can do it, your odds, of winning this game go up considerably, particularly on the power play. He's got 4 power play goals, I think, and those have all been recent.
Yeah. So, you know what? We spoke about this earlier about the Hurricanes taking too many penalties for our likings. That's still kind of happening. We're still taking some bad penalties at inopportunity times. The Capitals are gonna. As good as the penalty kill has been for us, we have to say it has been good. You cannot give a man of his skill and his talent that many opportunities. It's just not going to go well. Just not going to go well.
Nope. And the Capitals always travel well, so there's going to be a lot of Caps fans in our building. So
let's keep them in their seat nice and quiet.
Absolutely.
Okay, as long as the Cap fans are in their seats, they can enjoy the game. We don't mind, being friendly with them and stuff. As long as they got nothing to celebrate, everything will be just fine. Thank you very much. There really isn't too much left to say, is there, Brad?
I think it's just go Canes.
Go Canes.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Ray and I greatly appreciate your support in helping us produce an informative and fun podcast. As always, we'd like to say that we believe hockey is for everyone. Whether you're a Caniac or a bunch of jerks, doesn't matter, as we're just a couple of jerks anyway. We would love to hear your questions, comments, and suggestions. We will do our best to answer anything hockey related. You can reach us via email at stormcellar97@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at stormcellar97, and on Facebook at facebook.com/stormcellar97.